Right, welcome back to another one of our videos. Today, I'm joined by Kraeg Davis from the HPP Group. Just two of us today, primarily because we're going to talk Cyber Essentials, and Kraeg heads that up within the HPP Group. And we're going to talk today about some of the most commonly asked questions or frequently asked questions that come to us, but probably in reality come to Kraeg, who answers them on behalf of our account managers and obviously sometimes directly to customers as well. Quite often these sort of questions come up when a customer's looking at Cyber Essentials for the first time. So we thought if we cover them off, it might give some insight to everybody about what Cyber Essentials is and how it works and various different benefits along the way. So let's kick off firstly, Kraeg, with, if people haven't heard of it, what is Cyber Essentials in a nutshell?
So the easiest way to explain this is the government obviously hands out a lot of contracts, a lot of money, things like that. And ever since the issues with the NHS a few years ago with the cybersecurity, they thought, right, we're going to get everybody we deal with on a baseline. We want to know they're doing the basic security correctly. So all their suppliers, the NHS, even the MOD, if you work with them, if the money comes from the government, they wanted to know that their IT systems are at a basic level. So they developed this scheme called Cyber Essentials. Now, it built on since then. So they originally, like I say, just did it for the NHS. They built it up. Then they thought, this is really good. Maybe everybody should be doing this. So they approached a third party called IASME. They developed a bit of an easy framework for everybody to follow, and then they released it out to the public as an actual certificate you can gain as any company in the UK, or even a foreign company can, if they want to sell into the UK or deal with the government, or just show that they've got a basic level of cybersecurity. It's just a very basic certificate that says, there we go, we're doing the basics of cybersecurity.
So it's still true today that if you want to deal with a government body, a public body, then you need to be Cyber Essentials accredited.
Correct. So usually if the money in some way is involved with the government or a county council or anything, public money, let's say, they would often ask you, do you have a Cyber Essentials certificate? We're seeing this creep up even more and more because the government's also asking for that. Other companies are asking companies. So we have big contractors with people like Boeing or Toyota and things like that. And they're saying, you know what, this is a pretty big deal. We want to know you're getting your cyber security correct. So we're going to ask for it as well. If the government's going to ask for it, we're going to ask for it. Everybody can do it. Just makes it really easy to say we've ticked that box. We know what we're doing. We've thought about things.
And there are two different levels of this, aren't there? There's Cyber Essentials and there's Cyber Essentials Plus. So what's the difference between those two?
So there are actually further levels above that, but the 99% will be Cyber Essentials, Cyber Essentials Plus. So Cyber Essentials, to keep it very simply, you do a basic level, set level of cyber security. I'll come into what that involves in a minute. You fill in the form, you send that off to the governing body. They assess your answers and they provide you a certificate. Now, in no way do they say, okay, you've said that, what do you mean by that, or anything like that. They just assess what you've put, you pass or fail. C plus, once you've answered the questions, an external auditor comes in who's nothing to do with your company, nothing to do with HPP, and they go, okay, you've said X, Y, and Z. Prove it to me. We're going to go now into your system. You said you've got this antivirus. You said you do your updates. You said, let's have a look at your machines now. So they'll go into your servers, if you have any. They'll go into your laptop and say, you said you had your Windows updates turned on. They haven't been running 6 months. It's just that external level of, you've said these answers, now we're going to prove it. And once you've been proven, you get the C plus certificate. The actual question sets between the two, 99% identical. There's a tiny little bit more involved in the plus because of the external assessor, but there's no additional questions. It's the same level of assessment, but one's self-assessment and one's been externally verified. That's the main difference.
Okay. So in terms of timescales then, I mean, obviously, I think we need to take out the sales process in this and obviously any kind of financial bits where things are getting sorted. But from the time it comes to you, Craig, assuming that there's potentially some work to be done and then the certificate to get, how long does it take to get that first level, the Cyber Essentials certificate?
So as a city standard, it obviously depends on how far away you are from their technical controls. So if you have all the work done, ready, finished, and you meet their requirements, typically we would submit it and we would normally see answers back within 48 hours. Now, that's been extended a little bit due to COVID, so probably 7 days. So we would submit the answers, and within 7 days, you'd have a nice, pretty certificate that you could show all your customers. Roughly 2 weeks after that, you would appear on the IASME website as a certified business as well. Now, if you don't meet all the technical controls, then you would either have to do them yourselves. That takes however long you take to do that. Or you could approach somebody like HPP. That's exactly what I do day to day. I go in, assess a company, say, look, this is what's wrong with your network. This is what you're not meeting for Cyber Essentials. This is what you need to do. And then obviously, like you say, there's a sales process to go through with that. There is a technical process to go through that. I would hope that most people are done within a couple of months at the worst case, even with all that sales process and things like that. So
perfect. And does it take longer? I assume that there's an extra wait then when we're going to the plus level for somebody to come out and assess it. So how long does that take?
Yeah. So obviously the CE plus, as fast as we go or that you go as a company, you've still got that external person to book. Now, typically in a normal non-COVID world, they would come out to your site and sit with you and say, well, let's go through it. And that would normally take 4 to 6 weeks. Due to COVID, they're doing this remotely now, so they'll remotely dial into your systems, take control of your machine with you on it and go through a thing, and they have to jump through. That's now taking roughly 8 weeks. So we would say, right, you're ready, let's go. 8 weeks later, would then have the assessor come in, and then your 48 hours to 7 days for the certificate after that. So 2.5 months, the longest once you're ready.
Okay, great. So what's our process for getting people Cyber Essentials accredited, and are there benefits of doing it the way that we recommend to do it?
So we take the technical set, the processes, everything that IASME, the body, asks for. We put it in a very, very simple form that myself as an engineer or other engineers who do it in HPP, we follow. So typically what will happen is you've got to know where you are before you know how close you are. So we'll do a mini assessment, we'll run through it and go, you know what, all this is perfect, these little bits need work, you're not quite meeting this, you don't have this policy, whatever it may be. So we'll give you a baseline and we'll say you're 60% of the way there or you're 90% of the way there. These little bits of work need to be done, and then we can get the certificate. Now, the vast majority of what I'm seeing, there's a lot of policies and things like that that just need making. Perhaps you even have them, you've just forgotten about them, they're stored somewhere, or we can provide them. So we've taken all the technical jargon, we put it into really clean, simple way of working. We'll give you literally a list of work that can be done, whether it's by HPP. We will gladly take on all the technical bits. We'll even provide you with policies. So once you've provided all that, you can do it yourself if you want to, and then again we can come back, reassess, go, fantastic, you're ready to go, and we'll fill out the form for you, or you can fill out the form and we'll submit it. It literally, we'll work with you. If you want to do it all, we'll just handhold you the way through. If you want us to do it all, we'll absolutely do it all.
Brilliant. And what are the benefits of Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus themselves? Once you've got that certificate and once you've had that work done, you're up to that standard level. What are the benefits to the customers?
Yeah, obviously the big one is if it's on a tender document and it says, have you got Cyber Essentials, and you answer no, you're probably not going to get that tender. That's the biggest thing. I mean, in terms of the great big wild world with people who haven't even asked for it, it just shows you are taking IT seriously. You've genuinely looked at your security, you've thought about what you want. You can show that as a certificate or a link to the IASME website and say, we've done this, we've been through the accreditation process, we've got the certificate, we really do look at our IT security, and we take it seriously. We're also getting a lot of insurance companies now saying we won't insure you for anything cyber related, or even probably not as far as computer related, but in terms of protecting data protection things, they say, look, as a minimum, we want you to have cyber essentials. So we won't insure you for cyber attack unless you've got cyber essentials. And then once you're on that list as well, you can bid for all the government contracts and things like that. You can go for it. You're already there, rather than approaching us and say, oh, I need it quick. You're already there on the list. And I have actually heard from companies that they've been hunted out because they're on the IASME website as a past organisation. So that's brilliant.
From what I understand as well, obviously, there's different opinions in IT about the right way to do things and different approaches to do things. But in general, we feel that this is a good structure compared to what businesses would do without this structure and with no knowledge of this. This does genuinely make business safer and more secure when it comes to their data, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the government's thought a basic level. Obviously, they've approached a third party and gone, right, it is a basic level. What should everybody be doing? So there is several sections in Cyber Essentials. The first bit is, do you know the basics about your company? Who works for you? How many people you've got at home, working at home? Your company number, what your turnover, basics about your company. And then it moves on to, do you have things like antivirus? Are you sure it's on every machine? Is your servers kept up to date? Are your machines kept up to date? When your users go home, are you sure they're covered? It makes you think about every aspect, and they really have broken it down into key areas, and then they go drill down from within there. But it is a base level. There is much higher certifications than Cyber Essentials, but we really are saying, as a minimum, there's no reason why every company in the entire UK can't pass Cyber Essentials. It is just that peace of mind of knowing, you know what, we've done the basics, we've done what we need to be doing, we've thought about everything, and if the worst does go wrong, at least we know we've done what we need to do, sort of thing. And perhaps if something did go wrong, it's been a bit more sophisticated. It's made it harder work for somebody to break in, steal my password, whatever it is. So that's why the insurance company wants it.
We've talked about this on another video, but as well as that element of, there's some software, like say antivirus and protection there's some policy work. There's also a level of maintenance, is that correct, about making sure that this isn't just a do it and forget about it till the next time? It's actually a case of keeping it up to date as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of the questions, they're very well worded. So what they don't want you to do, I think in the previous video I used the car MOT analogy. So if you took your car in for an MOT, it passes on that day. The next day, is it still MOT worthy? You know, you might, over the next few months, you might develop a bald tire. Do you ignore that? So that's what Cyber Essentials have got, some very good questions in there, as in, how do you keep your devices up to date permanently, not just for the assessment day? Is it done in the case of Windows updates, are they done every 14 days? Not are they done for the day of the assessment? So there is a process, a technical process that you have to go through all year through, but it's not there to make it hard work. It's there because Microsoft, for instance, releases patches that are to fix things that are being exploited right now. So if even 14 days, that's 2 weeks where your systems could be vulnerable, but they're just giving you a minimum. Look, you've got a couple of weeks to deploy this, so maybe twice a week you go in, just check is there any Windows updates, reboot machine, there you go, you've done it. That applies to any big bits of software. So for instance, if you're running Pegasus or Sage or anything like that, that's all your company's finance data. You wouldn't want that to go walkies on the internet. So just keeping that up to date every couple of weeks with any fixes that are coming down, that's what they want you to look at. So yeah, there is an ongoing process. We can take care of that as well. We have a security framework, we call it. I go into businesses every few weeks, make sure things are up to date, make sure things are patched, make things are ready. We have an ongoing process all the time that we keep up to date with this, you know, what they require.
And that's obviously important for security and actually making sure the physical data doesn't get lost. Yeah. Is it is it relevant to the certificate as well? Because I certainly I've heard people talk about, well, we'll get certified and then we'll just do it again in a year's time. Could it invalidate the certificate? Could it invalidate insurance or any of those things as well?
So yeah, if you say in your certificate and you do sign this for the insurance purposes, and you say I do my updates every 14 days, you get breached. They have a quick look at it and go, well, you haven't done your updates for 6 months. You've lied on the form to get the certificate to get your insurance. So in a way, you've committed insurance fraud. It's a bit like saying I only do 10 mile a year in my car, but you've actually done 50,000. When they look at you and go, well, you've done all this mileage, we didn't insure you for that, so we're going to invalidate your insurance. So it's not a position the company particularly wants to be in. I certainly wouldn't want to be in it. If you've lied on an insurance form, it could get quite hairy. So yeah, I wouldn't advise it.
And you've mentioned a couple of times already COVID's impact obviously has impacted a lot of things. Other than the time delays, has it, which are not hugely significant by some things, has it impacted any other ways as well?
I mean, it's actually taken a while, as with everything in the government. The assessment questions have now started to take into account everybody's working from home. I mean, 14, 18 months late, but they've caught up now. So they're now asking the questions of, you've got half of your workforce working remotely, are you still looking after them? If they've taken their devices home, are you still looking after them? So the questions of either tightened up or been asked more in depth as to what you're doing for them remote workers. In terms of a day-to-day, from my point of view, yes, the timescales have got longer, and at the moment the external audits are remote, so we don't physically sit with the assessor at the moment. But otherwise, the general scheme has been running really well due to COVID. It's just taking a bit longer to do, that's all.
Okay. And for businesses that have maybe heard of cybersecurity or watching this and think, well, it's a good idea, but I don't need that certificate. I don't deal with the government. I don't deal with organisations. I don't even come across it on tenders. Is this still relevant to them, or are there better ways of dealing with cybersecurity?
Yeah. So I said it earlier, there is absolutely no reason why any company in the UK, whether you're a one-man band or a multi-million pound international Fortune 500, they should be able to pass the Cyber Essentials. All they have done is take the basics of IT security, as in, if you go to buy new windows and doors, you want the basics, as in, does it lock? Have I got privacy windows where I need them, things like that. They've literally done that for IT. So they've gone, have you got an antivirus? Is your firewall secure? Even if it's just your home ISP, if you're just a one-man band working out of your spare room, it would still apply to you. The big internationals, obviously they've got bigger, more expensive kit, but the same question applies to where you are. So I would strongly suggest, yes, you at least look at it. It's absolutely free to look at. There's no reason why you can't go and get the question set from IASME themselves. It might just trigger that, oh, I've not looked at that in a while, or I didn't think about that, or anything like that. If you want a more in-depth look at, give one of us a call. We'll give you a bit of an assessment. We'll see where you stand. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. We are here to provide you with an in English explanation, not technical jargon. So if you don't understand the questions, why are they asking that? What's the point in that? We can talk you through it, explain the benefits, explain if you ignored it, what could potentially go wrong. And at the end of the day, it's what level of risk you're willing to take. It's a simple fact. Some people want all the bells and whistles, everything tick, make sure everything's perfect. Other people, you know what, it's really not worth me doing that, but at least you've told me about it. It's in the back of my mind, and I know maybe as I grow or as something changes, I need to look at that.
Brilliant. And that probably leads on nicely to the last question then. So if that, like you say, risk is kind of personal in terms of how people view that. One thing that everyone likes doing is saving money. So can the work, obviously from our audit process to implementation of Cyber Essentials, can this actually save businesses any money in either the short term or the long run?
Yeah, definitely. So we've taken the IASME questions, as I said earlier, and we built what's called our security framework. Now, our security framework goes above and beyond what IASME want. In that, we've built in some extra checks that we check, and they are only there to save you money. That is it. That's the only reason that question's there. So we'll look for things like unused licenses. You might be paying Microsoft £5 a month for an Office license for one user that doesn't work for you anymore. Why pay that? What benefit are you getting? You know, we also look into things like your antivirus. You've already paid the money to have the antivirus installed. Let's make it really work for you. Let's turn on all the features. Let's make sure it's working properly. You spent the money. Now let's make it work. So it's not saving you money directly, but you've already paid the money, so you may as well get the full use out of it. In my job title, I have the word proactive, so I'm trying to find issues before they become issues. So I'm generally looking around and going, although that's filling up or that's not working quite correctly, and correcting things before they become a problem. So I mean, it could be something as basic as this keeps erroring every single time. Before that system crashes, I'm going to fix the error. Or it could be a fan's not working on a server, something as simple as that. If that server goes bang, it's going to cost you thousands and downtime, and it's just not worth it. If somebody identifies it beforehand, you know, a £5 fan, bit cheaper than buying a new server with all the downtime involved. And obviously, it's not really saving you money, but it could make you money when you can bid on them contracts if you go for Cyber Essentials. There's nothing better than being able to say, absolutely, I meet everything on that tender, or I can now work with any government agency or the council, or I can bid for all that work now. It opens up a massive job market that you can apply for, and people know you've then done the basic levels.
Brilliant. Well, that's it, Craig. That's all of the questions that we've got for you in our kind of Cyber Essentials frequently asked questions. Obviously, for anyone that's watching this has got different questions that they want to get answered, or not quite sure that Craig's answers covered it and they've got some more detail, then you can always get in touch with us, and one of us, probably Craig, will answer that question and get back to you and let you know how to go on from there. So thanks very much, Craig. Really appreciate your time and obviously your insight and knowledge around Cyber Essentials. So thank you very much. And we'll be back soon with some more videos. Thank you.